Hey everybody, it's Patricia and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do something that's a little different for me. I'm going to discuss my vintage Estee Lauder perfumes. I used to work for Estee Lauder. I'm sure you probably all know that by now. I worked for Estee Lauder. I figured it out for sure. I worked from 1987 right out of college until 1994. Those are the years I worked for Estee Lauder. I started as a beauty advisor, just working the counter at the Belk department store in Asheville, North Carolina. I quickly moved up. Within a year, I became the counter manager for that counter. And then I think, let's see, that was 88. And I think in 1990 is when I became a makeup artist and I traveled all over the Southeast and other places and did makeup for events. I would go to other counters. When I became a makeup artist, I worked strictly for Estee Lauder, not for Belk. So I worked all kinds of counters. I worked all kinds of department stores. I did also makeup for commercial work, mainly print ads for like Belk would make a flyer to put into the Sunday paper. I did makeup work for that several times. Belk ads, Dillard's ads. I never did a commercial. I would love to have done a commercial, but I did do a lot of print work for Estee Lauder. So anyway, I wanted to go over what I have as far as my vintage perfumes, tell you about these perfumes. These perfumes I know about. Anything after 1994, I don't really know. I don't know. I don't even know what fragrances really Estee Lauder has now. I'm not kept up with that personally. So anyhow, let's start at the very beginning. Estee Lauder's very first fragrance was Youth Dew. Now she began formulating the bath oil. That was the first thing. And that they began formulating in 1946. That is what she took to Saks Fifth Avenue and as well as other stores in Manhattan and tried to get them to carry her bath oil. She conveniently broke her glass bottle of bath oil in the office and the scent wafted down to the sales floor and people started asking for it. In 1953, she officially released it as an actual perfume. So there's conflicting dates with Youth Dew. Youth Dew started out as a bath oil and then became a fragrance. This is what you would call an amber spicy fragrance. Very, very amber spicy. This is one fragrance. I can tell when people are wearing it. I know what they're wearing. A lot of people call it Old Lady. And I guess for today's time, I would consider it an old lady fragrance. But at its time, it was very sophisticated. It's an oriental fragrance. And that was what was kind of in style at the time. I do have the notes for you. Top note is rose, jonquil, and lavender. I'm going to be honest, I don't smell any of that. Middle notes are jasmine, muguet, and spices. You definitely smell the spices. Base note is moss, vetiver, and patchouli. You do smell those. I don't smell rose, jonquil, and lavender in this at all. I'm sorry, I just don't. I did wear this perfume to my interview with the account exec to get my job with Estee Lauder. So I have a warm spot in my heart for Youth Dew. I thought, should I get another bottle of Youth Dew? And I know deep down in my heart, I will not wear Youth Dew on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. So no, I'm not going to buy a bottle of Youth Dew to have a bottle of Youth Dew. I always kept one. I will keep all my miniatures, which is mainly all I have left, All my little miniatures I will keep. They're not to be used, but I do have them. And so, no, I'm not going to buy used dupe, but it is still available. I went on the website and looked, and on Estee Lauder's website, you can buy the bath oil. I don't know if you can pick it up at the counter. I'm sure you can pick up a bottle of used dupe at the counter. I'm pretty positive about that. Okay, next. The next fragrance I have is Private Collection. And I'm going to open this. I haven't smelled it in a very long time. Yeah, I remember it. To me, this is also a little old lady. It was sophisticated at its time. It was, people loved this. They wanted it. Mrs. Lauder, she kept a collection of rare fragrances in her office, and with that she created this scent, and she used it as her personal perfume. So this was what Estee Lauder wore. Friends and acquaintances would remark on her fragrance until finally she decided to sell it. She released it to the public, though, in 1973. She waited a long time to release this. It's considered a floral green scent. I can see that, but I got notes. I do smell some spice in there. Top notes: honeysuckle, jasmine, and citrus. Let me open it up again. I do smell honeysuckle. I don't smell jasmine or citrus. Middle notes: orange flower, ylang ylang, and coriander. I smell the coriander. And the base note is sandalwood and patchouli. And that's what's really coming through to me. It is not as strong and spicy as used to. It's more delicate. It is pleasant. You can purchase this from the website. Again, I don't plan on purchasing it. The whole time I worked for Estee Lauder, I never wore it. I don't foresee me wearing it. But it is a pleasant, nice fragrance. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about was one my mother loved, and that is white linen. Here we go. We had a lot of white linen in our house. When I worked for Estee Lauder, all but the last 2 years that I worked for Estee Lauder, I was a single lady. I got married while I was working for Estee Lauder to my first husband. Yep, this is definitely white linen. White linen was released in 1978. It's considered a fresh floral, definitely a fresh floral. It is different than Youth Do and Private Collection. This is getting a little more into what we would wear today. And you can get white linen easily at the counters and on the website. I didn't know this. I wrote this down. The whole time I worked for her, I didn't know this. The name came about because Mrs. Lauder envisioned the woman who would wear this as being fresh, crisp, and clean like linen. So there we go. Top notes, Bulgarian rose, jasmine, and muguet. Middle notes, violet and orris. And base note, vetiver, moss, and amber. I do smell a bit of that amber in there. I do get that. But yeah, I don't know what a Bulgarian rose smells like. I don't smell rose, but yeah, white linen. It's a good one. I like white linen. Next, we're getting into fragrances that I actually wore all the time because I was only allowed to wear Estee Lauder fragrances. Next is Beautiful. Beautiful was released in 1985. That was before I started working for Estee Lauder. Just a little bit of a fact here for you. The model for Estee Lauder back when Beautiful was released was a model named Willow Bay. She happens to be my age. We're the same age. Willow Bay. Willow Bay went on, she was a model, but she is now married and has been for quite a few years. She's married to Bob Iger, who is the CEO of Disney. A little bit of trivia for you. Yep. Beautiful. The fragrance of 1,000 flowers. Yep. Beautiful smells good. I like Beautiful. I also still have my large bottle of Beautiful. This one is where, like I said, it was released in 1985. We're starting to get, well, we are, this is the first of the fragrances that Evelyn Lauder created. Estee is no longer actually creating fragrances at this time. It's Evelyn. Evelyn Lauder is the daughter-in-law of Estee Lauder. Her husband was Leonard Lauder. Leonard Lauder is her husband. He didn't officially take over. Well, I guess you could say that. He was running the company. Estee was still in there, but she hadn't officially retired. But that woman, she kept her nose in the business up to the very end. So, but by this time, Leonard's taken over, and by this time, they're diversifying their own Clinique. They own some others, starting to own other lines, cosmetic lines. So, but anyway, that's Beautiful. Top notes are rose, mandarin, lily, tuberose, and marigold. Middle notes, orange flower, muguet, jasmine, ylang ylang. Base notes, sandalwood, vetiver, and amber. Almost all these fragrances have a base note of sandalwood, amber, and maybe vetiver. Maybe she liked those fragrances. But that is Beautiful. Next, Knowing. This is the one. I was working for Estee Lauder when this was released. This was a big deal. I had a million bottles of Knowing. I had every form of Knowing. I had a lot of this fragrance. At this time, the model for Estee Lauder, and for the majority of the time, well, I think all the time, the whole time I worked for Estee Lauder, was Paulina Porskova. So here we are. This is Knowing. It's considered a woody floral. It was released in 1998. Oh, excuse me, 1988. Yep. And I would say woody floral is a good description of this fragrance. It's for the woman who knows what she wants. Again, it was developed by Evelyn. Evelyn developed this one. I remember all. I still have some bags somewhere saved that we gave, you know, when you purchased, you got the little tote bag. I still have some of those somewhere. But anyway, that is Knowing. Did I give you all the... I'm not sure if I gave you the notes. The notes are, top notes are rose, tuberose, mimosa, plum, and no, I didn't tell you these notes. Plum and pittosporum flower. I'm going to spell it. Pittosporum. Pittosporum flower. Middle notes, jasmine, patchouli, and orange flower. And the base notes are oak moss, vetiver, sandalwood, and amber. So, yeah. There we go. And then next, we have Spellbound. I remember when this was released. I like Knowing more than I like Spellbound. Spellbound was released in 91. It says it's a floral amber. It is spicy, rich kind of scent. You know, I'm liking it more on scent now than I think I did back in the day. It's supposed to signify the magic of falling in love. That's what it... And again, Evelyn did this one. Top notes are rose, muguet, and apricot. Middle notes are orange blossom, carnation, and cardamom. Base notes, sandalwood, vanilla, and amber. I do smell the amber. I do smell a bit of a floral. I'm not sure if it's not rose. It's not a predominant rose smell, but it may be the carnation. But yeah. And I do smell a little bit of the vanilla. So that is Spellbound. Now the next one, I was not working for Estee Lauder when this came out, but I went ahead and included it because it came out in 1995, and I do have a sample of it. And that is Pleasures. It's considered a sheer floral. And I can see that. I know you guys don't care, but this is my sister Teresa's favorite scent. It's uplifting as fresh flowers after a spring rain. And my dog is snoring. I'm sorry. He's sleeping. Top notes with this is white lily, violet leaves, and green accents. Do you see a difference here in the description? Middle notes, black lilac, white peony, pink rose, and jasmine. And then the base note is sandalwood and patchouli. That makes me think there's a shift in the company at this time. This was after me. But yeah, I think things are a little different. But yeah, that smells good. I've never owned a large bottle of it. I just have some little sample sizes. I want to discuss 3 honorable mention fragrances that I happen to not have a copy. I don't have a sample. I don't have a bottle. I used to have these fragrances, but I no longer do. So I want to tell you them. The first one was Estee. It was just titled Estee. E-S-T-E-E. And what I'll do is I'll try to include some photos for you guys. You can see what these bottles look like. Estee was a warm floral. It was not my favorite. It was released in 1968. I rarely sold Estee, except I had this one gentleman, really nice man, older man, who came and bought it from me every Christmas to give to his wife. I thought that was real sweet. And I'm sure those people are no longer with us because that was a long time ago. But that was Estee. Estee was never a favorite of mine. Like I said, I think these 3 fragrances I'm going to tell you about may be discontinued. You might be able to find them. I'm not sure. They're not readily available. The next one is Azure Lee. It was released in 1969, and it is considered a citrus woodsy. I did enjoy that one. I can barely remember it. I did enjoy it. I do remember that Estee, Mrs. Lauder, excuse me, she developed this fragrance. It reminded her of her vacation home in the south of France. It is supposed to smell like what it smelled like when she walked out on her balcony of her home in the south of France. It was not a big seller at all. I don't think I think maybe I kept a bottle or 2 at the counter when I was a counter manager. I don't think I ever sold a bottle of Azure Lee. I may not even have had a bottle at the counter. I did own a bottle at one point, but I don't think I ever sold a bottle. And then in 1978, Cinnabar, which you may still be able to get. Cinnabar is a very rich oriental. It's a spicy amber. It definitely is. It is a spicy smell. Kind of along the same lines as used to, but I would say more like opium. If you like opium, you might like Cinnabar. I kind of put them in the same category, opium. And then I have 2 other things I want to show you that are collectibles that I picked up. I had to look up to see when these came out, to see when I collect them. It was 1992. I've got the Solid Perfume. It's the little bunny. Let's see if we can get you. There we go. Let me open him up. You can see he is turned. This is beautiful. It smells amazing. It smells nice. I'm sticking my finger in it. I never used that. I just got it because it was so cute. So I have this little golden bunny. The same year, I got the little golden frog. And I believe this was my mother's, and somehow it ended up in my stuff. I probably got this from my mother because this was white linen. Again, never used. Definitely smells like white linen. These actually smell better than the bottles. But yes, I have these. I know they're collectible. I know I can sell them for a pretty decent penny, but I'm not going to. I just have them on display in my room. So that's it. That is all of my Estee Lauder vintage fragrances. I think since I have so many vintage fragrances, I'm going to keep doing these kind of videos and researching these other fragrances that I have that I really don't know anything about. I did know about these because of my days with Estee Lauder, but yeah, I enjoyed this. I really enjoyed making this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are new here, if this video brought you here, I would love it if you would subscribe. That means a lot to me. If you really enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. That helps my algorithm and helps more people find my channel. Any questions or comments, leave them down below. I would love to hear your stories about any of these fragrances. Do you have any kind of memory? I have one of Estee. I will tell you here at the end. I sold a bottle of Estee and the person returned it. It was not a spray bottle. It was a bottle like this. And they returned it halfway filled with baby oil and we think water. There must have been just a little bit of Estee left, and Estee Lauder takes back all returns, and I had to give the person their money back. Can you believe that? I'm not telling you to do that. I think that was a horrible thing to do, but that's my one memory of the fragrance Estee. So anyway, again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.